for me to get some more. So hard to see that a woman like you could wait around for midnight. Get some more my way. Mighty glad you stay. Mighty glad, mighty glad. I'm coming home to stay. I'm stuck on you, yeah. Got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't get some more my way. Needed a friend to the end. Get some more my way. I'm mighty glad you stayed.
Well, that was not Lionel Richie. False advertising. YouTube. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Mighty glad you stayed. I was waiting for one of these machines to log in a little faster. Is everybody okay?
Yes.
Put a light in here. There we go. So today's Thursday, the 28th. Last week for us, the last week, well, it's the last week of January period. Good morning, Ruben. What you got there as your picture? Looks like a mountain and an ocean, I guess.
Yes, that's an island in my home country.
Can't see it very well, but it looks very nice.
Yeah, it is a nice place.
So today we're going to hit that practice quiz. Trying to figure out how I can use my multiple computer setup here to best service us. All right, so if I So now I'm doing it a little different. Now I'm on this computer, which has a display over here. This is the one that I called my old computer in the past. By old, I mean, I don't know, 6 years old or something. it does this weird thing with the monitor. That's why I always had it closed and I was using the other monitor. But my new machine keeps giving me like connection issues. So we're gonna try it this way. I have a PC in the drawer that PV lent me. PV's, IT people. I don't know. I just have a fear of using it because then I'll break it and I'll have to pay for it. So what I'm doing over here is I have the email that I sent out last night that I'm going to refer to. There goes that machine thing again. But I might try to put you over here, but just bear with me. That email came, as it says, as kind of a general reply. By general reply, it means it's not going to anybody in particular. It's just a statement of general policy so that I don't have to get into any kind of quibbles with particular students or specific students. So if you understand the blanket law, the blanket rule, policy, whatever you want to call it, then you'll know why I seem to be mean to you on any particular occasion, not meaning to be mean to anybody. I just have to move this train, it's my metaphor, always forward. So it's just a response to a few emails I got regarding some issues that I keep repeating. That's on the syllabus, which is why I make you take the syllabus quiz, because you're acknowledging it at least. So when you want to have your mommy call me and fuss at me, I can say, well, she or he read the syllabus or I presented it to them, so they should have understood, blah, blah, blah. Questions about, there were questions about retaking the quiz because some people didn't understand that it didn't matter whether you did well or not on this quiz. It's a practice quiz. It's meant for today's class. It's great if you did well because then you kind of understand the concepts, or you kind of understand how to read the problems. If you didn't do so well, well, that's what today is for, and so don't fret it. But if you didn't hear me say all that on Tuesday, then you're like, oh, I did poorly on this quiz. Can I retake it? Well, don't worry about doing poorly, but no, there's no retaking exams and quiz. That's the quiz is, sorry. That's what they're for. They're a test of knowledge at a particular time. Some instructors will give you multiple attempts on quizzes because it's designed that way to be a progressive learning thing. Like, oh, you didn't get it this time, try it this way. But with the multiple choice quiz, where the answer is either one of two obvious ones, dogs, and two ridiculous ones, there's no retaking. I don't retake things. You get to revise. I mean, I don't retake them, obviously, but you get to revise essays when they're very poorly done, or for whatever reasons. Not always, but sometimes. And the reopening of assignments, it's been very minimal, but it's been present, and we're only a week in the class. What's been minimal? Well, the emails coming at me. Oh, my access was out. My internet went out. I lost my computer. The dog peed on my computer. Whatever it is. Lataria, are you asking a question or stating my name? Do you not have a mic? You can talk.
Are we gonna go over an assignment, or what are we doing?
Well, as soon as I finish talking about, anybody else want to help her out?
No, they don't need to help me out. I'm just seeing if we were talking over an assignment, or were we just gonna talk about the email that you sent?
Well, I think it's obvious. That's why I'm saying maybe somebody else could explain it to you.
Well, we're all in here waiting for assignment talk because I have stuff to do and you were kind of late. So I'm waiting for an assignment to be discussed.
Well, you're free to leave whenever you have to. But we
Oh
have,
no, you're not going to count me absent. I'm just waiting.
well, I'll get there when I get there. How about that? Is that fair enough?
Um, we'll make sure that the dean hears about it. You can continue.
No problem. So you're going to tell the dean, I'm just curious, are you going to tell the dean that you want to conduct class how you want class to be conducted? And I'm not conducting it that way.
I'm just saying you've already sent the email about it, so everybody's an adult. They should have already read what you said. We don't need
No,
to
I'm
discuss
explaining
it.
it because I want everybody to
Just like
understand.
you said, we're not special. You're on our special time. So if we're going to talk about an assignment, we need to do that.
We are. No, we'll get there when I get there. So related to your access issues, whether it's technology or whatever, you have to work those out. I cannot deal with them. I can't help you fix them, and I can't continue to we have to move the train forward. That you are not special. Thank you, Lataria, for bringing me. That's the next paragraph. That's the one I want to address. You are special people. You are unique as people. As students in any class, you're not. So whatever issues that you have, keep them to yourself. They don't belong to me. They're actually not my business. They're none of my business. I shouldn't even ask you about it. So when you miss assignments, that's on you to figure out. I can't help you there. I can be flexible and tolerant with certain situations, but for the most part, I can't be bombarded with, can you reopen quizzes and stuff like that. And I don't need you to tell me, and Lateric, if you felt offended by the you're not special business, I'm explaining it
It's
now. That's why I'm
Letier
taking
for Mr. Richard.
Pardon me?
Laterica.
Laterica. What did I say?
You said it incorrectly, but that's okay. I'm just saying that you've already discussed it, and
I don't care what you're saying,
people.
okay? I'm conducting class. I'm trying to talk civilly to you. So you're
So
not
you're
only,
gonna
you're
yell
going to report me
unprofessionally
to the
over the
dean,
mic?
you and I are going to the dean, right, Ruben? We've had this in the past. You and I are going to the dean because I'm going to ask to have you removed from my class because you're a disruptor. Okay, so what I was explaining is that nobody should feel offended. What I was saying is that when you write to me, oh, a dog bit me, or I had, my cousin got shot, or I got in a car wreck, you're really kind of being a jerk to me because you're asking me to process that and do something with it. It's none of my business why what goes on in your personal life. It's not my business. And I don't want to get into the place of having to say, well, your excuse was good, yours was okay, and yours was kind of suspect. That's all I'm saying about providing me with excuses. Now, what's going to happen? I'm going to get an email later today. I know you said you don't want to hear it, but my uncle died last night, and people die. I don't know what to tell you. I feel bad for you as a person, but this train moves forward. Now on to the quiz, which is the next paragraph. We'll already address that. And please pay attention during classes because I do get emails asking me, it's just true, I get emails asking me to explain what I already explained in class. And there's a video, I'm pointing over at my other screen, explaining what went on in class. And that's why it's posted there. So I don't have to answer multitudes of emails about what I've already explained in class. Oops. We don't want that. Why is it doing that? What do you see on your screen?
It's
Do you
showing
see
like
Lionel?
it's showing the
Pardon
main
me?
screen. It's showing like the main screen, so we can see like the task stream, like.
Okay. Good. All right. This one's showing me Lionel Richie. So I don't really want to look at that on that machine. So we're going to look over here. Oh, it's the wrong quiz. We'll look at the preview on this screen, which is basically like my ability to take the quiz. It's not exactly the same way as taking it as a student. So question one, all of these questions were modeled after questions that are actually on the real one. And the real one, I have to go in and revise it so that it's different. There are a lot more pronoun agreement questions on the original one. I left a few of those pronoun agreement for testing sake, see how much you know about it. And I'm trying to get to the moderate the quiz place on this machine so I can see how well you all did. And I can focus on those problems, you know, on the items that you had the most problems with. Ashley and her mother are at the mall. Ashley and her mother is at the mall. I would hope you had answered. Or because Ashley and, okay, there's a rule here. Remember the he, she, or it rule is if it's a single, that's what first person singular means. It's a single one person outside of yourself. So it can't be I and it can't be you. So if you have one person and another person, it's always going to be plural. So it can't be a he, she, or it. So this is a simple example. Yes, sir.
Oh, I got a question. Are we just following along with you, or are we supposed to be on it on our own? Like, are we supposed to, minimize the Zoom call and do it on our own, answer those questions on our own?
No, you're just following along with me. You're supposed to have already answered these questions. And that's what I was looking at over here. Shamalis, am I saying it right? Are you there?
Yeah.
You're first on the list alphabetically, that's why. Well, okay, so you did fairly well. Most people got 8s and 9s and 10s, so that's good. I can't look at everybody's particular thing to know exactly what you missed. I wonder if I can look at the, so yeah, you're following along with me. I mean, you can open it for yourself and look at it. So we have an and, that means it's a they, no matter how you look at it. The trick here, by trick, I mean the thing to be paying attention to is the and not whatever comes closest to your verb. The and makes it plural. The only time time it's not plural is if it's some unit like drinking and driving, or peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Even though it sounds plural, it's one thing. So this right answer is are. Ashley and her mother are. They are. Anybody want to slow down on that one? For further clarification? It's a very simple example of how that happens. In other words, you might get a long series of information, a woman named Ashley who is wearing a red dress, and her mother who is 80 years old and is wearing pink shoes. Now you have all that information. It's a long sentence with a lot of descriptive stuff. And the last thing you hear is shoes. Well, in that case, it's going to work. So her mother was wearing a pink blouse. The last thing you hear is a blouse, and a blouse would match with is. If your mind hears that, then you're off track. So you have to kind of dissect the whole sentence structure to know that you still have two things acting. One thing we didn't go over, because we're a higher level class and we're not going to go over too many basics, but in the handbook that I posted, one of the first chapters is about the parts of speech. There are 7 or 8, however you look at it, 7 basic parts of speech. Nouns and pronouns, which are things, or people are things. And then verbs, those are the 3 top ones. Verbs are things that people do or be. Everybody follow that, right? So when I talk about the verb, subject-verb agreement, you're looking for the be word or the do word. So to be, it could be, but it also could be, seem, or look. He looks funny. That's a be word. It's the essence of his being. Question 2 is based upon one from the real quiz, but I revised it to make it a little more complicated. Any man who doesn't or don't take care of his family and his responsibles ain't worth his weight in beans. Shamalis, if I'm saying your name right, let me know if I'm not.
You are.
You got that one correct. I'm using you as my guinea pig a little bit here. So would you like to explain it? Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, ain't supposed to be a choice. So you have 2 choices then.
Yeah, I mean, I just read it over and over again with the different ones, and then it sounded right. The doesn't and isn't.
Right. I'm sorry, you got it wrong, actually. Remember, on the practice quiz, I marked some of them as the wrong answer as being right. No, you're right. I'm sorry. That's not one of them. Anybody want to explain why? Because I got confused. I did exactly what the quiz is supposed to throw you off and make you think about it.
Well,
I read that right there.
Well, I read them as if they weren't contractions. So I would just say any man who does not take care of his family and his responsibilities is not worth his weight in any beans. I kind of read it like that, but I guess responsibilities, even though that's plural, I guess any man it's not. So it would be is not instead of are not.
Right. You're right. And you're right about 2 things. Always take, if the contraction slows you down a little bit, take time to break it apart. If you're proofreading, obviously when you're writing, you're not thinking those things. But if you're proofreading and you see something you're not sure, you break the contraction down and you'll hear it better. Because especially with don't, it's one of those things you hear a lot in speech. He don't make any sense, right? We don't even pay attention to when people talk that way. It's no big deal. But you're right about the second thing, which is any man is our subject. So all the rest of the stuff is just meant to throw you off in a quiz. But if you actually had written the sentence, it's your mind that's going to throw you off. Because the last thing, like, I think that was Haley. It sounded like you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was me.
The last thing your mind hears is his responsibilities, and his responsibilities sounds like it should go with aren't. But all of this stuff, when you take a grammar class, or if you do grammar activities in a class that focuses more on grammar, there's this activity that it's a prepositional phrase and an adjectival phrase thing, but you basically scratch out all the stuff that you know is not part of the subject. So we'd scratch out all that, and that helps us get to our verb that's far away here. Question 3. Either. Anybody know the rule for either?
That it's singular. Like you're choosing between one. So that means the options are singular. So you're gonna have to use is, even though.
You're about half right. Your option here, a singular and plural.
I don't know. I chose is because I just felt like that's what sounded best. Because I chose either Denise, I guess, is singular, so that's what I went off of because she was the first subject. Well, one of her sisters is singular too because you're talking about one of the sisters. So I guess I don't know.
Right. Who said that? Was that still Haley? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. That's where you get it, because you got the plural here, and this is a tricky one. But you have Denise, which is singular, and one of her sisters, which is also singular. So you have, I'm being tricky there, but you have a choice between a singular and what looks plural, but it's actually still singular. So our verb has to be singular. The he, she, or it rule. In this case, is she. Did everybody follow that? Thank you, Haley. That was a pretty good explanation. Wrong class. Oh, there you are. So the either or rule, to go back a second, I did this on purpose to be tricky, but if I didn't, if I just said, or her sisters, scratch that out, then we have a singular and a plural. And then the rule is whatever's closest to the verb. So in that case, it would be are. Not now, but if I didn't have this, if this was scratched out, it would be Denise or her sisters, and sisters is closest to the verb. The same rule applies for pronoun agreement, which we're not really going over. But if we had over here, are obligated to provide their services or something like that, it would be there if it were plural, if we didn't have this part. It'd be singular because we do have two singulars. So either Denise or her sisters, or one of her sisters, is obligated to provide her services. Same rule for pronouns. All right, Haley, I'm going to pick on you now. You got this one wrong. I think it could have been tricky. Let me check it.
Yeah, I got number 4 wrong, I think, but I understand why it would be wrong, I think.
Do you mind explaining it?
No. So, well, my answer, I had picked last, but I guess the song, including the intro and the voiceover, they're all together. So it would be last, like with the S, last, I guess, about 6 minutes.
Right. That one's kind of sticky because of 2 reasons. Am I still there? Are you still there?
Yes.
My screen over here is doing a weird thing
You
again.
can still see it though. Well, I can.
Okay. Well, you're being, I'm being tricky here because last is one of those words like risk. Any words that end in the SK, ST, SS maybe, I'm not sure. We don't really hear the final S in speech. Like he asks me stupid questions all the time. He asks is correct because of the S or ES rule, but we don't really say it. I mean, you won't hear people distinguish. I mean, you won't be able to distinguish when people say it. So last is one of those kinds of words. The second part of the rule here is that this is extra information. It goes along with, but it's not the subject. This is really kind of a stupid sentence, but I was just trying to replicate the other sentence. The song is your subject. The song lasts, so the song is in it. He, she, or it gets an S or an ES. So, like if you're just listening, like if I go back to Shamalis, he said he would just kind of, on the other one at least, read it and kind of what feels right. You gotta be careful with what feels right because we don't really hear that final S. I mean, unless you're being silly and go last. Like there's one scientist over there, two scientists, plural, over there. Number 5. $150 is R. Haley got that one right. Anybody else want to jump in and if you got it right, explain why it's right, or if you got it wrong, explain why you know now why it's wrong. That's the purpose of the practice quiz, to learn how to apply the rules. Don't always go by what you hear because what you hear could be wrong.
Can I go again, or does somebody else want to go?
Sure, if nobody else is. Go ahead, Haley.
Oh, well, I chose is because I mean, $150 is together, even though dollars is plural, but it's whole, I guess, together. I wouldn't say $150 are in excessive. So I guess that was one of those sentences where you just kind of have to read it out and see what sounds right.
Right. Exactly. I made that one easy. Sometimes it's more difficult. Like if you're talking about something like water or oil, something that's countable but also non-countable. So $150, as Haley is saying, is a unit. It's a unit of money. It's a total amount of money. So it's one thing. If it was implied to be $150 bills are on the table or whatever, or I have $150 in my pocket, and I'd say those $150 are wet because I'm referencing each single bill, not the whole unit of amount.
Professor, would it be safe to say like R is like the state of a being?
R is what?
R is more like the state of a being or state of being?
I have to think about that.
I wouldn't necessarily say R something unless you can actually be it, like a person or something, or a dog. You get what I'm saying?
I do, but I don't. I get your logic, but I don't think it's right to think of it that way because, I mean, money can be something, but your logic is right in that $150 is not. It's an abstract thing, right? All those $1 bills add up to this big amount, but there's
Right.
not a real amount.
Right.
It's abstract in our mind. I'll take the $150 because then I can break it down into bills and I'll have $150 bills.
Yes, sir.
But your logic is right.
Gotcha.
For the real exam, I'll try to revise it so that it's not quite as difficult to figure out. I think there was an example like paint, like 10 gallons of paint have spilled or has spilled onto the floor. It's kind of tricky. Are you talking about each gallon of paint, or are you talking about the whole unit of paint? And I'm not sure whether it's which one's right or wrong, depending on your context. Number 6, like I said, I try to be, I'll go light on the unit amount. This is also a unit amount, but it's a little easier to kind of comprehend the rule. To apply it, it's a little different. Phyllis, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you mind explain, because you had it right, so could you explain why you chose leaves?
The orchestra leaves their instruments in private lockers behind the stage. Because I feel like leave would be like the orchestra is multiple people, so leave would just be like one instrument or one person, right? Like the orchestra leave. That's not right. The orchestra leaves their instruments.
Yeah, you're right. The there is a hint for you. Remember, the pronoun rule is often tied to it. So their instruments. That means it's individual single instruments.
Yeah.
They don't all play one drum or something. So you would replace it with they leave their instruments. So this guy, this gal, this guy, this gal, they'll separately leave their instrument in locker rooms, in lockers, private lockers. If it was, so the rule behind what she just stated is that if the orchestra is acting as separate entities, not just one thing, then you go with the plural. They leave their instruments, because there's multiple instruments and multiple people in an orchestra. If the orchestra or whatever the unit is acting as a unit, as one thing, then you would go with the singular. So change a verb to like is and are, say. The orchestra is playing tonight, or the orchestra are playing tonight. See, the orchestra then is acting as a unit, so it would be an it and would be an is. Unit, singular, act as separate entities, plural. So like a common example is the team. The team has won its second Super Bowl. The team acts as a unit. It has. The team left their cleats, or that's past tense. The team leaves their equipment. They leave, so the team doesn't leave it all as one thing. Each person leaves their equipment scattered about the field. They're acting as separate units. The jury is another one. The jury eats their lunches. The jury eat their lunches because they don't all sit around one sandwich. They're acting as separate entities. The jury makes its decision. One unit, he, she, or it. Number 7 is a very similar one, but now we're getting into pronoun area. Well, when it's randomized, so we're still going to have subject verb stuff. Committee members, see, that's a cheat, right? If I scratch that out, you still have to figure out, does it mean the committee as a unit or the committee members as separate entities? So I cheated there and I gave you, they all have separate signatures, right? They don't sign with one giant pen. So there is a hint there for you, 2 different theirs. So, and the put also, they put, they don't puts. That sounds stupid. So in that particular case, it's there. Phil's also got that one right. I hope you all get that. That's one of the toughest ones, is the unit, the thing acting as a unit or as a separate entities. Question 7. The committee members put, I'm sorry. Well, my neighbor with all the junk cars makes strange noises when running. I made that sentence up. It's kind of a dumb sentence, but I was trying to throw in all the parts, pardon the pun there. My neighbor, now this is one of those where you would scratch out the prepositional phrase. So all this stuff is just extra right in there before our verb. This is our subject right here. No matter what comes in between, we scratch it out. This is our subject. So in this one, Phyllis, she said makes, which is right, and I marked it wrong. This was one of the later ones, and I started to get. I told you I get suspect about students and their answers.
So professors, so it's graded, like you're gonna go back and change the scores of, you said you put the wrong answer?
On some of them. So like if you were trying to share answers, you don't want to. Yes, that's what, not on this one, but on regular tests, if I mess up the answers, I go back afterwards and I supply right answers. So I tell students, just answer the right answers. Don't listen to any little voices in your head. Just answer what you know is right. And even if it comes up that you did poorly, the score will change. Not with this one because it's a practice quiz. The points don't matter. But I have this one marked as being make because it sounds like cars. You see, and I threw in the strange noises when running. Well, it's not the cars running, it's the neighbor. He makes strange noises when he's running. But the right answer is makes because my neighbor makes.
Oh, so the right answer is makes.
Correct.
Okay, because I put make. Okay.
Right. Number 9.
Wait, I have a question about number 8 really quick, Mr. Schmidt.
Go ahead.
So if you did want to make number 8 make, like if instead of makes, like would it be possible, I guess what I'm asking, like if you was to say my neighbor with all the junk cars make a strange noise, would that be grammarly correct, or like would it not be correct at all if you was to make, I guess, put a after the verb?
Well, who's making the strange noise, the neighbor or the cars?
Well, the cars, I guess. Well, I guess, I don't know. What? I guess, well, I was assuming the cars was the one making the strange noises, not the neighbor making the strange noises. But is the neighbor, I don't know. I don't even know.
In this example, in the example on the quiz, it's the neighbor making the strange noises. In order to make it the cars making the strange noises, you'd have to revise the whole sentence, with all the junk cars that make strange noises, and then make would apply.
Okay.
If it was a strange noise, it wouldn't change anything because he's still the one who's doing the making, so it still be makes. He makes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how I know he makes those strange noises when he runs, unless I'm following him or something. But it was just for the sake of the quiz. The football players or the coach carries the responsibility for the team's loss. Let's see. Here's one of those either or things. We don't have the either involved, but the or implies the either. So what's the rule? Anybody remember? We have a plural, and then we have a choice between the plural and the singular. And who's closest to the verb? The coach, which is the singular, he or she. He or she means S or ES, so carries would be our right answer here. And I had the totally wrong answer on the quiz, so don't worry about it. I had carrying as the right answer.
What's the right answer?
Carries with the ES.
Okay, I thought I did so too. Okay.
Because coach is closest. The coach is the closest thing to the verb. I guess this is a good example example of how speech, if you pay attention to speech, to find your answers, you're going to run into trouble, because I could hear somebody saying the football players or the coach carry the responsibility. And nobody would even hear that I had a subject verb error, right? Unless you diced it down into its rule. And that's all we're worried about, is how you write it, not how you speak it. This is a pronoun one, number 10. And since we didn't really go over pronouns, this is just really more for instructional purposes. We probably won't go through pronouns, as a group. Individually, I'll point it out on your own work. The things to avoid are called case errors. That's when you go, me and my brother are going to the movies. It sounds illiterate. A lot of people talk that way. Usually not college level students, but you'll hear a lot of people speak like that. The other side of it is a case error. Case just means, how does it function in the sentence? So me can't do anything. Me is a case, is a do case. So I is a do. I go to the movies. So my brother and I are going to the movies. Everybody follow that? Me is also the case of object of the first person me. I, me, my, So if I'm going to get something, it's going to be me. So he laughed at I. No, he laughed at me. He laughed at my brother and I. No, he laughed at my brother and me. He laughed at me. He threw a ball at me. So that's what case means. This is an example of case that's third person singular, meaning the self, first person plural. I got it all messed up. First person, the self, many, so we. Faculty at PVAMU need to instruct we or us. So would you say, I want you to instruct I, or I want you to instruct me? Case, the object. So you're going to receive the instruction. Everybody follow? So you want to go with us. We does something. It sounds like bad English. I'm recording this and somebody's going to look at it and go, what a terrible English teacher. We does something. But we is the case for doing or being. We are, we have, we eat, whatever. Us is the case for receiving. The other case is possessive, if you're interested, like my, your, our, in this particular example. But we don't have that. So in this case, it's us. You instruct us. Like I said, that's not going to be on the actual quiz. So this is more just for instructional purposes. Number 11 is a similar thing. So I'm not going to go into the whole explanation again. Although he claims to be smarter than me or I. Now, most people are going to say me. We'll hear that all the time. He's smarter than me. When you really mean he's smarter than I am smart. Because the I is not receiving anything. It's being. I am smart. He is smart. I am smart. He is smarter than I am smart. People don't talk that way. That's just the rule. My roommate gets lower grades than I get. Same rule. So the hint, me, I'm smart, or I am smart. So in both cases, it's I. I mean, in both cases, it's I. So it's I. Captain. And I have it marked as wrong for me, I. So it's I. I am smart, and the grades I get. That's a tough one. And who got it right? I'm on Phyllis. Phyllis, you got this one right. The two winners of the first round, Michelle and I, will go on to play in the bonus round. They're going to go do something. So I is the case for doing. Remember that. I. Me gets. Me go on to play in the bonus round. Well, you probably don't belong in the bonus round if you talk that way. So, and this is renaming. Whenever you rename something, it goes to the first the subject pronoun, which is the doing pronoun. So when you hear people answer the phone and you say, "Hey, is Richard there?" and I would answer, "That is I." Sounds funny, but I'm renaming the subject. So the subject is I. I know it sounds funny, so I'll always answer the phone like, "Well, that's who I am." You know, I fill in the blanks because it sounds pretentious or something. They go, "Yeah, look, there's I. I am she. I am he. I am she." So in this case, it's I. And the final pronoun one. Do you understand somebody? Well, to understand a person, the verb is attaching to the person. It's he, in this case, he is the object of the reception of the understanding. So I understand him. When he talks about my sister and he talks about me, he doesn't talk about I. We're not really doing pronouns, so I don't really have to go into this rule too much. But if you had case, remember case is how does it function in a sentence? You'd have a list: I, you, we, they, he, she, it, and the other you, which is plural. Then you'd have a column that has the object, so me, you. I forget the order I put them. But anyway, if you had the columns of them, a way to remember it is that you never cross the lines of the columns. So you don't say him and I, which is common speech thing, right? He was laughing really hard at him and I. Sounds smart, but it's not. So I'm not here anymore. I wonder if I can get it over here. I'm gonna trick my machine here. I think those are the basic rules for subject verb. The only one that I would ask that didn't make its way to the practice quiz because there wasn't one like it on the real quiz are what are called the pointing adjectives. Remember those? Here, there, and where. Here is, here are something. There is, there are something, and where is or where are something. Would probably be an example or two of that. Remember, what you're looking at is what's behind the verb then. That's how those pointers work. So where is my brother? Where are my brothers? Because I'm looking at the thing behind, and brothers is a they. They are over there. Here is my answer. One thing, the answer. Here are my answers. Same rule. And the there is and there are. The problem is, and I think it was Haley mentioned the contractions. When you use contractions, we often make oral mistakes with those. There's no good there's no good reasons for you to miss the midterm exam. Reasons is plural. I use the contraction. We don't even really hear it. Where's my pants? Here they are. Pants you consider a plural. But in the first one, where's, I contracted it and it sounds okay. So you have to be careful for that. Probably won't have an example of that one on the quiz. Just telling you about it. Questions about subject verb though. Agreement. It's the most important one to get right of the major errors, but it's also the one that you probably better at than like pronouns, because pronoun misuse is so embedded in our vernacular, the fancy word for the way we talk, that we don't even hear the errors. Whereas we hear the subject verb errors a lot of times. What's this? This is the original. So we're not going to look at the pronoun stuff. So instead of Ashley and her mother, we have Annie and her brothers. Brothers is plural. The and makes it plural altogether, so are. Here's one of those that's a unit. We exclude, pardon the pun there, but we don't include this stuff here. It's just the movie. The movie takes about, whatever, 2 hours. Here's the unit amount, going back to the $150. $12 is a lot of money. $12 are scattered all over the floor. The dollars act as single units, so they add up to a plural. And then we get into pronoun stuff. Questions? Subject verb agreement.
So you said for the, I think that was question 13, you don't cross over, so him and I don't sound right, like that's not a thing.
Right. No, you can, and whenever you have the and, or even an or, whenever you're separating them, you can't put any from one column with the other column. One of them is going to be wrong. I guess you get both wrong or both right. But if you have one from each column, it's going to be wrong. So like me, it's nobody would say this, but me and she have been friends a long time, or she and me have been friends a long time. It sounds kind of goofy, but that is an example of crossing those boundaries. She and I have been friends a long time. But my neighbor doesn't like her and me. So her and me come from the same column. Case. If you want to look at pronoun case, that's I'd have to look back at the handbook, but I'm sure there's something on pronoun case if you're interested. I wouldn't worry a whole lot about it for your own writing until I start pointing it out. It's less frequently done. And it's one of those things you have to kind of just break a bad habit. And that's what teachers do. They help you break bad habits. Other questions? Subject, verb questions. Don't mistake any of this for verb forms. They're totally different. This is just agreement with the subject. Verb forms are when you leave off your endings for your verbs, like, or you change the ending in the wrong way. So, you know, like a little kid might say, he maked me. So he's using a non-existent form of make, because he hasn't learned better yet. Little kids learn slowly. Not that slowly. But grown-ups don't usually do it that way. It'll be like sort of using the wrong, what's called a past participle, but the one that goes after auxiliary verb, like I have run in several marathons. That's a verb form, the run. If I said I have ran in several marathons, it's a verb form error. It's not the right verb form. So you got two ways. There's irregular verbs, all the ones that change on their own. They're strong. They do whatever they want. And then you've got regular verbs, which get a D or an ED. So if you leave off the D or the ED, or some people might even add a D or a DD, like he drowned. No, he drowned. That's an extra it's a regular verb, but it's getting an added, I don't know, syllable or an ending. So we'll talk more about verb forms next week. Just so you're familiar with them. I'm not going to quiz you on verb forms, but so you're aware of some of the problems that occur. Gone and went are two primary ones. If you say, I have went someplace, that's a verb form error. If you say, he gone already, that's a verb form error because gone is the one that has to have the auxiliary in front of it. They don't call them auxiliaries anymore. They call them something else, but he has gone. Or he is gone, I guess. Past participles can act as adjectives as well. Like, I drink too much. I drank too much. Therefore, I am drunk. Drunk being the verb form, but it's acting as an adjective. That's too much information for you for today. But we're focused on subject-verb agreement. Any questions about that?
No,
I'll
sir.
post the quiz probably either later this evening or early tomorrow, and you get it done before Monday or by Monday. And then we move on to fragments, sentence boundary stuff next week. I'm gonna have to take roll aloud because I can't see the screen here. See who's. Let's see. There we go. Almost got it back. There we go. I see you now. So I'm going to stop the share. And hope I can see you well enough.
I have a question, Mr. Schmidt.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
When would this recording be uploaded?
Probably by noon today. I have a class after this one, so I don't have the time to convert it. I'm trying to convert them all to YouTube so you don't have to deal with passwords now. So it'll be later today. I'll probably start converting it as soon as we end class. Jihad, are you here? No? I'm not calling names because I can see you're on the screen, and for the sake of time, or maybe I will have to call names. Kiana, are you here?
I'm here.
Thank you. Oh no, different Kiana. Eagleton, there you are up there. Caitlin, I just saw you. Xavier, I saw you. Anaya?
I'm here.
I don't see you. Oh, there you are. Haley, Alyssa?
I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Kendrick Farian? Farian? Okay, I got you.
Here.
Madison?
Murray Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Michaela? Ananda, I saw your name. Justin, I see you. Khalees? Khalees? No Khalees?
I'm here.
Khalees? Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
I'm here.
Ananda, I saw your name. Jameson, I saw yours. Phyllis, I saw yours. Jaleese, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. And Kiana, we established you're here. I got everybody. Yay. Except for Jihad. One last thing that I meant to write in my email, but I didn't want to go into too great a depth with it. Thinking about providing you with the materials for essay number 1 sooner rather than later, even though it won't be due for a few weeks, so that if you want to write and get it to me earlier, you're free to do that. But I haven't really decided on a topic for essay 1 yet. Our major theme for the semester is going to be something to do with technology and how technology affects the way we do things. So if anybody's got any ideas between now and next week to share, maybe you read an article or you saw some, news item or something like that, that pertains to technology and how technology has altered the way we do things. One thing just occurred to me, like, there's a movie coming out. I can't remember the name of it. Anybody know? It's a Spike Lee produced movie. I can't remember the name of it. He didn't direct it, but it's about a black father. You can find it if you look up like 2021 trailers. But it's I don't know, maybe in his 30s. Black father with his son in the car. I think it's based upon a true story. And they get pulled over by the police. And I mean, it's a trailer, so you can't really tell exactly what the plot line is. But long story short, the cops shoot the kid and kill the kid, who's like a teenager, not like a teenager, just a teenager. And then the father seeks vengeance by like taking people hostage and stuff. Anyway, and he's going to conduct a trial with the policeman, a young guy who's a policeman, and it looks like it's going to be very complicated, like who do you pull for kind of thing. But at one point, the main character says, make sure your cameras are on, film everything. And so I'm reminded of that, talking about technology, how cameras being everywhere, whether it's our cell phone, our mobile phones, or cameras in, the ceilings of every place we go, how that has altered not just our own personal behavior, but how we interact in society. I'm always worried, like, there have been times where I'll be in Walmart, like my hands are full, so I'll put something in my pocket. I don't mean to steal it. I just don't have any hands left. And so I'm wondering if they caught me on camera, they think I was a shoplifter because I put something in my pocket when I'm really just trying to carry it to the cash register. I know I should have gotten a basket. I'm sure you've all done that, where you go, I'm just going to get one thing, and you wind up, carrying, half the store out with you. So anyway, just something to think about. I've taken roll. We're good. Have a good rest of your morning and afternoon and your weekend. And I'll see you on Thursday. Laterica, if I'm not saying your name right, if you want to stick behind, and we'll talk about how we can
okay,
best approach the issue. I don't want to say dean, but move this over here. Now you're going to see me up here. So my camera's over here, but I'm looking at it over here, so that's why I'm like this. If you've ever watched, like,
Mr. Smith, did you call my name? My computer was, I don't know what's wrong with the audio.
Janacy, I think I got you. The only person, oh, Dhad, I see your name now. I got to go back and change it.
Good.
All right. I guess we could do this. Phyllis, Madison, and Jihad. Well, let's see. I got 10 minutes. Latarka, am I saying your name right now?
Yes, sir.
I don't have the ability to boot people out or of the meeting, so I don't know why there are a few people hanging around. So how would you best like to address your discontent with our class?
I mean, I feel like if everybody's seeing your email, I don't feel like you should waste your time explaining that to them again. And then we're always getting off topic as well. I'm not for sure what's going on, but I felt like when you said something about somebody getting shot and all that, that you didn't care. You have to remember you emailed me about that, and I take that very serious when you say you don't care about that.
Well, I didn't say that for one. I said that's not my concern.
Well, it's concerned to others.
But it's not mine. That's what my point. I mean, you can share it with the dean or whoever. You're going to lose that battle because I don't have to be concerned about your personal life. And
You don't have to be concerned about it, but I didn't say whoever was emailing you, it was regarding me. But the part that you made that compliment, and I know I'm the only one that emailed you back about that.
About what?
About someone being shot in my family.
Well, no, you'd be wrong about that. And maybe you may be the only one recently, but I've gotten many cases of, and people will share news articles and video, news links about how their brother or their sister or whoever it was made the news because of that. And it's not that like I said, it's not that I'm not concerned about you as a human being, but it can't infiltrate my ability to teach the class. Now you have other things that you said we go off topic. I don't know what going off topic means. If I feel that addressing that email information is necessary, you're going to lose that battle with the dean or anybody. The professor has the right to conduct class however he feels is effective for all of the students. And so rather than have a I'm looking over here, a conflict with you one-on-one, I'm having the conflict with everybody all at once. I didn't think about your name or anything when I was, you see, you're thinking you're special and unique. And by that, I mean, you think you said something and I remembered it. No, I get bombarded with all kinds of things, whether it's your uncle died, somebody got shot, whatever it is. So I didn't remember you from anything. I'm just making a general broad statement that that's terrible. I have terrible things in my life too. We've got to keep them to ourselves because they don't apply here. They're not relevant to what we're doing.
Well, it's not keeping me from taking my time of being in class either. So that part was not about me. I'm just saying how the compliment took that no one is being special. You do have to take consideration that you do have people that have special needs in the classroom.
Special needs, well, that's totally different. If you have a
ability that they do have a learning disability as well.
And well, I wasn't addressing that at all. That has nothing to do with and that's what I clarified in the email. I'm not talking about your personal. I'm saying whatever excuses you bring to me, whether they're real or not real, they're not mine to deal with. So,
correct.
If you have accommodations, if you had needs to have further testing time or whatever, that's nothing related to what we're talking about. That's actually law.
That I don't use that as an excuse. I still attend school even though that's going on, and that is streaming, and I've been on national TV with my family as well, which it will be streamed, Friday as well. I do not take my education as using that as an excuse, but I can't speak for everyone else.
Okay, well, that was the point. That's why I don't understand your problem. I mean, I guess you took it personally when I was trying to say, don't take this personally to everybody. It's not personal to any person. It's for all 100 of my students. If I listen to you, and there will be other people, and there have been other people who have loved ones. I've had students write about it. If you want to write about it, that's a different thing. But to present it to me is to put me in a position of like, well, what do I do with that? I feel bad for you. You want flowers? I don't know. But according to our class, the class has to move forward. So I don't know why you or anybody would share that information with me. I don't need
Just
that
in case that person
information.
is probably absent. That's probably what the problem is right now with all of us, everybody, individuals at the campus right now. We know that there's COVID going on and there's a lot of things going on. The Some of the instructors and advisors have been very unprofessional when it comes to addressing things to students, or they'll say things like how you said it just a few minutes ago, like how you didn't care. We know it's not your situation, but we share that so you know what's going on. We're not saying to excuse us for our actions.
Okay, well, I guess we're just not I mean, we're not understanding each other. I keep saying, as a
I
human
understand you
being,
on
if
your
you want to
behalf.
tell it to me as a human being, that's fine. But if you present it to me as a reason why you didn't accomplish work in class, then you're putting me in a tight spot. Because then I got to say, well, yours is right, and his is somebody getting shot. Well, then do I ask you for an obituary? I mean, then you get into ugly territory. Well, you got to prove to me that you're mourning, and I don't really need to be in there. I just need to move forward with the work, and it's not unprofessional. It's just like, I mean, we don't have accommodations for grievance or what do you call it, bereavement. You come to class, you don't come to class. If you can't come to class for COVID, then I do have to see, documentation for it. But you're only given a certain amount of time for even COVID. You can't say I had COVID for 2 months. So you're not going to fall behind. You're going to be out for probably a week. If you do have COVID and it hits you hard, you'll be sick for a week. I'll work with, and I was working with somebody else because of some reason I can't remember. I said, don't worry about it. She's going to have some. Actually, this whole email was responding to somebody with another very serious issue. She's got to have some kind of brain operation. That's serious. I feel for her. She wanted me to post the information, the assignments for next week so she can get them done. No, I don't post old assignments. I don't post new assignments until they're due. But I'm in a weird position, right? You would admit it. Somebody tells you that, hey, I'm getting a brain operation. Well, that's terrible. I feel terrible for you. But I don't know what to do about it on my end as an instructor, not as a person. If I see you, if you want me to come visit you in the hospital, let me know. I'll make my wife won't let me because of COVID, but I'll phone call you. But I can't do anything about it as far as the class, except say, oh, you were out for a week for a good reason. Here's your accommodations. Here's how you can make it up. But I can't, in her case, I can't post future stuff.
Well, on her case, if I was her, I would take that to the dean to show them all of that, which they are aware of my family situation. But like I said, I've still been attending your class.
So what's the problem then?
It was just how you were addressing it. And no, I wasn't trying to be disruptive. It's just when we come to class, we be prepared to go on. You've already told us the issue last night. We read it. I don't feel like you should waste your time on reteaching us well, talking to us again about something that we all should know as adults.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this with respect, nicely this time. I don't care what you feel. You're not teaching my class. You're not my advisor. You're not my boss. Even if my boss said I don't feel, I would say, sorry, I think it's effective. I think I need to address it with the class for the very reason that you got upset because of the unique special thing. I thought, let me explain where I'm coming from. So if you don't feel it, turn off your mic or whatever. I don't care what you feel, not just you, Laterica, personally. I don't care what any of my 100 students feel, how I should conduct class. Now, if I do something unruly or vulgar or whatever, then you have a right to report me to the dean, whoever. But they're just going to grin at this kind of report. I mean, you can't tell the instructor how to conduct his or her class. Whether you feel is comment to each other, talk smack about me to other people. I don't care. But it is disruptive to join a class and tell the instructor how he or she should be conducting class. When I felt it was pertinent that I addressed the issue, I only spent 5-10 minutes on it, but to what's the word? I'm sorry, elaborate on what I meant and where I was coming from. Because you're wrong. People will not get it. I'll still get emails. I know you said you don't want, but you know, my uncle, who I love very much, died yesterday, and I don't think I can write my essay. Okay. And it'll be numerous if I don't stamp it out. You won't be the only one. I'll have 28 other people. Well, let's go 29 to make it a round number 30. Now, how do I deal with 30 exceptions to this train moving on? So anyway, we're just kind of beating a dead horse, or I don't like cliches, but we can go to the dean together. The dean's probably not the first. Deans don't like to be bothered unless you follow all the right chain of command. If you reported me to the dean today, I'm going to get a message from somebody beneath them saying, hey, you got a report, deal with it. Like, okay, I got to deal with it. And it'll make its way to the dean if you take it that far. And most of the time, students don't win that battle. I'm just telling you. I mean, unless you really, I'm not telling you not to challenge instructors, by the way. If you really have an instructor who's disrespectful or does something, you know, really outrageous, take it to, you probably go to the interim chair, which is Dr. Liu first.
I'm aware who they are. They know who my mom is. I know all about them.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example just to put it in perspective. I had a student about 2 years ago at Prairie View who was having some issues, and it was toward the end of the semester, and she missed a lot. And I don't really need to tell you all the details, but her mother called me, and her mother worked in the office of Dr. Ruth Simmons. And I said, I don't care. I don't care if you work for, I guess, Trump was the president. I don't care if you work for the dictator of the world. This is how the class operates. Now, it turns out her really serious issue, because she was arrested for something, and I thought it was going to be really bad. She was like pulled over by the cops and given a ticket for speeding, and she didn't like the speeding ticket. And that was what all the ruckus was about. But this woman worked in the office of Dr. Simmons, and she got in trouble for calling me and trying to report me. And I reported her. I didn't report it to Dr. Simmons. I just reported it to Dean. I can't remember the former dean's name, but anyway, it wasn't Dean Gilbert. So that's how the process works. You say, oh, they know who you are. Well, they care, but they don't care to the extent that you're going to get to manipulate the system. I'm not saying that you would be wanting to manipulate the system, but
if they wasn't, then they would not have showed their respects to the family as well.
Not showing respect to the family is different from allowing anybody to kind of change the way things operate. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, we're not telling them. I'm not saying that they're going to treat anything different, but they take certain things serious.
Well, sure, I do too. I don't know. No, I don't really want to know the ins and outs of your personal situation unless you want to share it. I don't need to know it. It'd be like prying, or it'd be like, tell me the scoop. I don't need to. But if I did, I would tell you, oh, well, that's terrible. I'll send you a card, or tell your mom, whoever, whatever situation is. I don't grieve in the same way, but I feel terribly about things that happen in our society. But I could say all that, but you still got an essay to do. Whatever, not really, but does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Well, I hope you come back. Got hair growing there. Don't take anything. I swear to you, your name was not in my mind when I said that. It was just it has happened. The student who wrote about it, her father was killed in the driveway. It was kind of drug related, I guess, but he was a good guy, a good stepfather, and he had stepped in for her, and he was killed right outside in front of everybody in the driveway. And I felt terrible. She was a good student, and she wrote a good paper about it. It's terrible to have to write about things like that. But anyway, so it does happen. You're not the only one that it's happened to. There was one who wrote a story about when she was a little kid. I'm looking at you over here. There are all these great stories. They're great stories, but they're terrible to the people they happen to. When I say great stories, they're touching. So anyway, I'm babbling now, and I got to get to class. So I hope you come back ready to be productive and do your subject verb agreement quiz over the weekend. Have a good one.